Hello, writer friends. This afternoon, I want to talk to you a little bit about how to create a table of contents for your manuscript. There is sort of an old school way that we can do this, and there is an automatic way that we can do this. And I want to show you both and give you kind of the pros and cons of each one and let you decide which is going to work better for your manuscript. Now, often in nonfiction books, you are going to need to put in a table of contents. If you're writing fiction, probably not so much. This won't be an issue for you. And remember that when you're doing a table of contents on a manuscript, if it's a manuscript that's going to become a book, then putting page numbers in your table of contents is kind of moot. There's no reason to do it because the page numbers are going to change when the book is actually typeset. So the only time you really need page numbers on a table of contents is if you've got something that is a standalone printed copy. And then the page numbers will change should you, say, create the book on your own or if it gets published. But I'm going to talk you through how to do this anyway. All right, so on my manuscript so far, I have my little title page, and there is a video about creating a title page if you'd like to need help with that. Copyright page, same thing. I have a video about that. I had put in a little dedication because I wanted to do that for my book. And then I'm at the section where I need my table of contents. And this is a nonfiction book about editing, so it needs a table of contents. All right, so here's the old school way to do this. All right, so I'm at my View tab now, and way over here under the Window portion of this ribbon, you see there's a button called Split. I'm going to split my window into two sections. That means that when I scroll this part, this one will stay static, and when I scroll this one, this stays static. All right. And so this is how I have often built my table of contents. Because I haven't needed page numbers, it made it very easy to just go in and do this. So you can see I already typed in the word acknowledgments. That was my first section. And I could scroll and I could say, oh, okay, the next page is introduction. And scroll down, and the next part is Chapter 1. I might call it Chapter 1, or I might just say 1 or whatever. And then I can say peeking into a publishing house. Right? And then I go down and I'll scroll. Whoops, I'll leave that where it is. And then I'll scroll down and find where Chapter 2 begins. And I'll pick up the title for Chapter 2. There it is. And then I'll go, okay, Chapter 2, polishing the first pages. Okay, and so on and so forth. Go all the way through the whole manuscript till you get to the last chapter and plug in bibliography if you want to, or whatever pieces might be in the back matter of your manuscript. And there, you're done. You have created your table of contents. You go back to the View tab here and just say Remove Split. And the split is gone, and I've got my table of contents page. Now, there is also another way to do this that Microsoft Word has embedded into the manuscript, and it will automatically create it for you with just the push of a button and include the page numbers. So let me show you how that comes about. Now, the first thing that we have to do, however, is we need to make sure that throughout our manuscript, we have tagged everything that we want to show up in the table of contents with a particular tag. And so on the home ribbon, we want to make sure that heading 1 is the best way to do this because that's how Microsoft Word sort of defaults. And so you've got in your choices here, we have the options for these different headings. Yours is going to look different because it picks up tags that I've been using recently, but you will have a heading 1. It may even appear really quickly right here. So what I would want to do is say, okay, I want this to be tagged as heading 1. All right. And so then I'll go to this. Okay, I want this also there. I want to make sure that this is heading 1. You can see this is grayed out already. So it is tagged that. So go through with each of your chapter titles, highlight the title, highlight the title, and then make sure that it just says heading 1 for each title. All right, so I have done that throughout the manuscript. Okay, so now I want to make the magic happen. So I'm going to move my way back to my table of contents page. And now I need to push a few buttons. All right, so I'm going to go to the References tab that's on my ribbon. And you'll see over here to the left that we have an option for creating a table of contents. So I'm going to click on the down arrow that's next to that. Now, what you'll see is Automatic Table 1 is going to create my table of contents and take all those heading 1s and put it into the table of contents. You can do that. If you've got other headings that you want to appear in the table of contents, let's say there's some subheads in your manuscript where you've broken up the text with headings. And if you label each of those heading 2, then the manuscript, the contents will pick up the heading 1, the chapter title, and then it'll also pick up all of those headings if you want all of those in the table of contents. But maybe potentially you don't. So we're going to come down here and we're going to ask for a custom table of contents. All right, now in this window, it looks a little confusing, but what we want to do is we want only one level of headings. So down here under this show levels, I'm going to bring this down because I only want one level of headings. I just want to pick up the chapter titles for my table of contents. And now on these other boxes, we can say we do want to show the page numbers, and we do want to right align the page numbers, which means it's going to put the page numbers across so that they're lined up on the right, okay? And here, this is allowing us to use hyperlinks. So if you are creating an ebook, this can be a good way to do your chapters because then somebody can just click on the chapter and then it'll take them to that chapter in your ebook. I'm actually going to undo that because I'm not interested in hyperlinks right now. All right. So then what I do is I take a breath and I hope it's going to work. And I say, okay. And here's what we've got. All right. Now I had titled what's happening here is I had made table of contents be a heading 1. So it picked it up. I'll probably go back and undo that. I would say, okay, let's not let that be a heading 1 because I don't want a table of contents entry in my table of contents. That's not what I want. So maybe I'll just label it heading 2. There we go. And then all I need to do is I need to then update the table, which I can do up here. I can update the table, update the entire table, and see it got rid of the table of contents heading because that is no longer labeled heading 1. So, and then if there may be a couple of other things in here that I'd have to go through and adjust. But what that does is with the click of a button, you have created the table of contents without all the typing, without all the scrolling. The page numbers are there. If you were to go through and make some changes in your table of contents, if you realize, oh, something's not quite right here, or you need to go through and check some headings, all you have to do is fix it and then go back and update the table each time. And this will automatically create for you your table of contents. This will come in really handy if you have a long report, potentially, that you have to turn in, a paper of some kind, a manuscript that you do want to go ahead and give them the table of contents. As you saw, you could remove the page numbers and not include those. That was one of the boxes that we checked, so that it just gives the chapter titles, but no page numbers, which a publisher is not going to need, as I said. But in some cases, you do need them. So those are the two ways that you create your table of contents. You can do it by hand, or you can make sure that you do the style tagging and then go through and click those buttons and automatically create your table of contents. Thanks for listening.